What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. One of my most anticipated video games of the year, guys, is Watch Dogs Legion. I'm really excited about this game, and for a number of reasons. I like the Watch Dogs franchise as a whole, but when I started seeing the reveal of Watch Dogs Legion, it got me immediately excited. I kind of loved the post-Brexit style and like the locations and all of that stuff within Watch Dogs Legion make this seem like a really interesting and probably one of the best, Watch Dogs games to date. And so I'm really excited about it. Hopefully it lives up to my expectations. I know a lot of you out there are really, excited about this game as well. In this first segment of the show, though, I want to talk about the top 5 things that we want out of Watch Dogs Legion. When I say we, guys, I'm going to be mainly talking about myself here, but I know some of you may share similar opinions to what I'm going to be giving all of you. And if you don't agree with my opinions and what the top 5 things I want, I'd love to hear your top 5 things that you guys would like to see in Watch Dogs Legion in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So coming in at number 1, guys, for me, out of the top 5 things that I want out of Watch Dogs Legion, number 1 would be a new story, but with ties to the original games. And so look, I love, when we talk about franchises, guys, as a whole, I love playing, different locations and all of those different things, having kind of new stories, new characters, so on and so forth. But one thing I really like as well is at some point within that franchise, I want things to kind of start, connecting to one another in one way, shape, or form. And I don't know how they would do it necessarily with Watch Dogs Legion, but I do believe that they could obviously do it in a number of different ways, say near the end of the game or in the middle of the game, wherever it might be, even if it's just kind of, some segments of the game that have kudos to the original couple of, Watch Dogs games. I think that would be something really special to me. I obviously want kind of a new story, and I'd like to, have, we go on this journey, and even if it was like, a follow-up to Watch Dogs 2, like a direct follow-up, I'd be okay with that as well. But I just like the idea of having kind of a new story, some new characters, and, obviously something along the lines where it ties into the original 2 games. But that's number 1, guys. At number 2, that kind of leads me into this, which is new locations, new characters, and new enemies. So obviously, we talked about we kind of want a new story. But with the new story is going to come new characters, typically speaking, guys. You're going to have some new characters, which obviously I want to have like a balance, right? You might want to have some characters that seem familiar, like from the other games. You also want those new characters that you can that can grow on you, and characters that you end up really liking or disliking throughout the course of the story. And then, of course, guys, having new locations, which obviously we're going to be getting some new locations, which is absolutely awesome. And I think that even having new enemies is going to be really important throughout the course of this next upcoming story in Watch Dogs Legion. Having all of those things, guys, can really make up the groundwork where, this isn't Watch Dogs 3. This is Watch Dogs Legion. And that's why I believe, guys, that when we look at the first 2 Watch Dogs games, they had, there were things about them that, each one kind of played off of one another in a couple of ways. And, there wasn't a lot of, I felt that they didn't take a lot of chances with Watch Dogs 2. With Watch Dogs Legion, they're almost kind of putting this as kind of a side story almost to the other 2 games, even though this is, the 3rd installment, of the main series here. I still think, though, that it's called Watch Dogs Legion. It's not called Watch Dogs 3. So I think that there's a reason for that, and we'll have to kind of see what that all is. But I think with new characters, new enemies, and new locations, it's going to make for something really special. Coming in at number 3, guys, I want a full open world with this story. I think we can probably expect at least a semi-open world. It's hard to tell whether or not how open this world actually is. It looks like it's a pretty open world, though, from the gameplay and the trailers and things of that nature, but I would like a full open world. This would be something that would be really special, I think, for Watch Dogs Legion to kind of set it apart, but also to really have more things that we can do within this world. Exploration and just like, a bunch of different side missions and ways in which we can come back to the game. Which leads me to number 4, guys, which is more multiplayer modes. And new, more variety of what we can kind of expect from the multiplayer aspect of Watch Dogs Legion. Look, Watch Dogs 2 had some interesting concepts with multiplayer modes, but I think that they need to have some more traditional types of multiplayer modes that make it a little bit easier for people to kind of connect with and such. And I love like the variety that they had in Watch Dogs 2, but I think that they should expand upon that in Watch Dogs Legion and maybe have some game modes that are more familiar to the shooter genre, the third-person shooter genre, whatever you may want to take from it. But I think that they absolutely could do that, and having multiplayer modes, once again, is going to bring us back to the game over and over again, especially if they're good, and after we're done with the story and such. And so I think that's incredibly important to have in Watch Dogs Legion. And then rounding it out, guys, at number 5, I think this kind of ties into the multiplayer, is having unlockable items as well as some earnable items as well. So when I look at the trailers for Watch Dogs Legion, it looks like there's just so many customization options for your characters, for the other characters that are within the world and such. And I think that in the multiplayer aspect and multiplayer realm will be absolutely awesome. Having earnable items that you can earn throughout your progress of whether it's the campaign, side stories with like if you want to play some co-op missions with your friends, or doing multiplayer, and having those unlockable items would be absolutely awesome. But having earnable items as well throughout the course of playing the multiplayer and such, while you're in the leaderboard or you're kind of in the waiting room to join a match, I think it would be really cool to have, your title and your emblem that shows how much time you've put into the game, like your rank and such as a hacker or whatever it might be, right? And I think other people being able to see that, it'll give you more reason to keep coming back to the multiplayer aspects of the game and just all in all, just put more time into the game as a whole so that you get some of those earnable items. And at the end of the day, guys, we know that when we look at microtransactions, those are things that are most likely going to be in every game moving forward overall. However, I think that having earnable items sets it apart from having those microtransactions, because if you have earnable items that you can't pay for, then it's going to give people more reason to try to earn those things. So that could be something really special. But all in all, guys, I'm very excited for Watch Dogs Legion. These are the 5 things that I mainly would like to see in Watch Dogs Legion. And one other one, guys, is I would love to see one of the aspects of this game to be free to play for everyone. That being like the multiplayer modes. I would love to see multiplayer free to play at least for some time for everyone else to try it out. And maybe the story and such you have to pay for, right? The $60 price tag. But I think it would be really cool to have some free to play concepts in Watch Dogs Legion to help really grow this fan base out in a major way. You look at games like Call of Duty, that's one of the biggest games in the world, has Warzone, as a free-to-play mode, Fortnite and all these other games that are free-to-play, guys. I think that having at least some modes within Watch Dogs Legion should definitely consider doing the free-to-play concept. But with that, guys, I want to hear your top 5 things that you guys want to see in Watch Dogs Legion. Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Watch Dogs Legion content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've been talking on the YouTube channel about Dragon Age and the future of this franchise. Obviously, guys, over at BioWare, they pulled a number of the developers or a number of the people off of Dragon Age 4 to work on some of their other projects. I believe Anthem was the one that they were working on at the time. And so Dragon Age 4 was kind of put on the back burner for a period of time. Well, now we're starting to get some more information. The rumblings are happening that Dragon Age 4 is under development. So let's talk about everything that we know so far about Dragon Age 4. Let's get into it. So guys, in an article that was written by PC Games, Dragon Age 4 is real and in production at BioWare. We know that much. But when is the Dragon Age 4 release date? Where will the story go next? And which of our favorite characters will return? While BioWare may be tight-lipped about the sequel to Inquisition, a few pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that is their next fantasy RPG are already floating around the internet. So we've had a cryptic teaser trailer about the Dreadwolf, suggestions of a potential multiplayer angle, and heaps of clues to its story contents, courtesy of various interviews and tweets with developers and writers who have worked on previous Dragon Age games. And yet EA and BioWare are insisting on keeping the game's title and release date under wraps for now. But as we'll explain below, the most likely Dragon Age 4 release date is 2022. So as far as the release date is concerned, guys, there's currently no Dragon Age 4 release date as of yet, although Dragon Age 4 has reportedly been in development since 2015, according to a report by Kotaku. The team were repeatedly pulled away to work on BioWare's other games, namely Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem. So I said Anthem, guys, but yeah, they were also working on Andromeda. As a result, the original Dragon Age 4 was shut down. So obviously, the concept of Dragon Age 4, it's hard to say where they were as far as in the development cycle, guys. I mean, were they at just initial concepts, or had they actually begun, development for a while? I would assume so, seeing as how it began in 2015. Development on a new Dragon Age 4 project started up again in 2017, and we may be waiting until 2022 for its release. During the recent earnings call, Blake Jorgensen, EA's financial director, said, "You should assume that there's Dragon Age out there. We've talked about it publicly. That's it in the works. It probably comes after fiscal year 2022. So that may be a while away, but that hasn't stopped the BioWare Dragon Age 4 teases. In the run-up to December, the developer tweeted about Dragon Age 4, or Dragon Age Day, and executive producer Mark Dara also got in on the fun, simple tweeting Dragon Age. The incident passed without much incident, but it did reaffirm that the studio is working on Dragon Age 4 with a lovely tribute to the game's fans. So what I will say is this, guys. Most likely, not only because, Blake Jorgensen said this, coming out after, fiscal year 2022, but on top of that, we also have to remember that, with the pandemic going on in our world right now, it's kind of complicated things in the entertainment industry, whether you're talking from, video games to movies to music, whatever it might be. There, all of these are subject to change as far as the release dates are concerned. And so don't hold your breath at any specific date. I would say that it could come sooner than 2022, but it also is maybe more likely that it goes later into 2022 or even into 2023. So just keep that in mind. The Game Awards 2018 gave us our very first official glimpse at Dragon Age 4 in the form of this brief teaser trailer called The Dreadwolf Rises. The trailer features Solus suggesting the game will take place after Dragon Age Inquisition. We can also spot the lyrium idol that appears in Dragon Age 2, although it's impossible to infer anything from this. So as far as the development is concerned, guys, Dragon Age 4 will be built on the foundations of Anthem's code, which I don't know what you want to take from that. I've said this on the YouTube channel before, guys. Anthem was one of those games that underneath all of the negativity, all of the, bad PR and just underneath all of it is actually a pretty good game in my opinion. But the problem is that it was just consumed by so many problems, bugs, and just, just problems all the way around. And so when you hear something like Dragon Age 4 will be built on the foundations of Anthem's code, it kind of brings a question mark. Now, when we say that, obviously we're talking more so like, from the graphic perspective and things of that nature. So hopefully that's going to be a good thing because Anthem did look good, especially in segments of the game. This may sound like negative to some, as Anthem proved to be a critical disappointment, but it may also give BioWare's team the consistency that they need going forward. Thanks to using Anthem's tech, development on Dragon Age 4 should be more smooth, as devs won't need to start from scratch, as is the norm for the studio. Speaking to Kotaku, one anonymous source explains that Anthem might be the kick in the butt that BioWare leadership needed to see that how you develop games has changed dearly. You can't just start fresh and fumble your way forward until you find the fun. That doesn't work anymore. And that is incredibly true. I can't even, I'm sure that obviously I don't have like insider information and but just being an outsider, from the outside looking in, you would have to think, guys, that when it comes to game development, even though I don't know a lot about the game development side, that, when you already have the code and things like that in place, it's got to make, making games moving forward a little bit easier for yourself. You already have the code in place. You just kind of do what it is that you need to. And obviously, Anthem and Dragon Age are two completely different games. But, when at least you have the code there, updating, everything may be a little bit easier. And you already have that structure and that foundation there. So on top of that, we know that the project won't be headed up by Dragon Age series creative director Mike Laidlaw. That is because in October 2017, he left BioWare after 14 years with the company. So a thank you tweet to Laidlaw from Dragon Age executive producer Mark Darrah reads, "I'm so excited for you to see what the next Dragon Age will be, confirming that development is certainly underway, something Dragon Age related." And then as far as the story is concerned, guys, while no concrete details of Dragon Age 4's story have been revealed, we do know that Alexis Kennedy, founder of Fail Better Games, has been involved in the game's writing. In May 2017, he revealed that he was working for BioWare on a chunk of story and lore. His plotline is said to be separate from the core story, but more substantial than background lore drops. In short, expect characters with dialogue and backstory. Now, guys, as far as the story is concerned, we could go on about this for ad nauseum, essentially, where we want the story to go. For me, I really... I want them to surprise me. I want there to be surprises in Dragon Age 4, and, whether they're trying to kind of continue the story from Inquisition, or if they're just trying to kind of go in a completely new direction, which I don't know if would be that would be really smart, but regardless of what it is, I just want to kind of see where they, I kind of want them to surprise me in a number of ways with this upcoming installment. I think that's something that's going to be really important moving forward for this franchise. I'd love to hear from you guys, though, in the comment section below. Do you guys want them just to have direct continuations from Inquisition? Do you want them to do somewhat of a prequel? Do you just want it to be in a completely new place with new characters and such? We know how that kind of went when they did Mass Effect Andromeda, which was separate from, of course, the main Mass Effect trilogy. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about that. If you've seen a lot of my work before, you will probably not be surprised by the choice of subject matter. It's familiar stuff, Kennedy told Eurogamer, suggesting there will likely be a strange Lovecraftian feel to his section, or at least a focus on death or loss. Perhaps it will be set in the Fade, Dragon Age's demonic dimension. Aside from that, any details about Dragon Age 4's plot are purely guesswork. After the success of Inquisition, it is a sensible bet that the next game could be a direct sequel as opposed to a largely standalone story set in the same universe as the series has been so far. The end of Inquisition saw trickster elf Solus, revealed to be the god of betrayal, Fenharil, disappear, and the Trespasser DLC concluded with the Inquisitor vowing to track him down and stop his plan to destroy the world. It makes sense that a sequel would cast Solus as the key villain and deal with halting his plans to usher in a new age for the ancient elves. So obviously, guys, they could go that way, and I think they probably will. I think that they'll probably just, carry on from where Inquisition left off, because like I said, if we go based on the past with BioWare, they tried to go away from the formula, not completely away from the formula, but away from the original Mass Effect trilogy, and I thought Andromeda was actually decent, but obviously I'm not everyone, and lots of people out there did not enjoy Mass Effect Andromeda like I enjoyed it, and, at the end of the day, it probably is a good idea for BioWare. They've tried it before. It didn't work out. And so now with Dragon Age 4, maybe they just need to make it a direct sequel to Inquisition. Now, the recent The Dread Wolf Rises trailer does offer some context for the new Dragon Age game as it features Solus. We can assume the game will follow on from the events of Inquisition and its Trespasser DLC. Wherever Dragon Age takes us next, we can be certain that the universe has more stories to tell. In August 2017, creative director at the time, Mike Laidlaw, explained in a tweet to a fan that the Dragon Age team had ideas for a theoretical Game 5 and that there is no planned ending for DA. So, that's going to be pretty exciting, guys. I mean, look, if they're going to make even a game after Dragon Age 4, which I'm hoping that they do, something that is really interesting here is Dragon Age 4 multiplayer. With multiplayer increasingly prevalent across the industry, it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that Dragon Age will likely feature some form of multiplayer component. This clue cropped up courtesy of a job listing for a franchise technical director for Dragon Age that requests somebody with experience developing multiplayer games. With no significant multiplayer elements in any of the previous Dragon Age games, this listing looks to apply to the upcoming Dragon Age game. So let's just think about this for a moment, guys. And I talk about the multiplayer aspects of games in general, almost ad nauseum at this point. But just think about this. Those of you who don't want there to be a multiplayer in Dragon Age 4 because maybe it's going to ruin, the game or kind of lose the integrity of BioWare once again after, with Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda and such. For those of you who look at it and don't think there's any positives come out of Dragon Age, answer this question. After you're done playing the campaign for Dragon Age in the past, right? After you beat it once or twice, or however many times you want to play the campaign, what do you do after you beat the campaign? You typically are going to move on to another game, unless there's more ways in which you can connect with that franchise. And so what I'm getting at is that Dragon Age 4, after you beat the campaign, no matter how long it might be, you may play it another time through to play it on a harder difficulty, or you want to collect, find more collectibles and things of that nature, do all the side missions and such. But then after you're done playing it a couple of times, most likely you're going to move on to another game if there's not more ways to connect with it. So I've always said this, that I feel having more is better than having less. So with Dragon Age 4 in particular, I want to have a great story, but I'd also like to have some multiplayer components to bring you back to the game. Think of Elder Scrolls Online. They decided to go ahead and do that, and there's people that have mixed reactions to Elder Scrolls Online, but Dragon Age Online could be pretty special. And then on top of that, you have other ways in which you're connecting with the franchise, which is what the developers want at the end of the day, is people coming back to the game over and over again, playing with your friends, even playing by yourself, or just playing with other people across the world in a multiplayer component. And I do think that Dragon Age 4 multiplayer, you're going to see the fan base grow over time because of the multiplayer. That's what most people want to do these days anyway. Lots of people don't even want to play these stories anymore, unfortunately. More people want to play multiplayer than they want to play a story. And that's unfortunate. But, me, from a standpoint, when I got into gaming, multiplayer wasn't really a big thing yet. And so the stories are great, and that's why I want there to be a great story from Dragon Age 4, but I also think having multiplayer components and co-op components would absolutely help bring people back to the game, because I'll beat the game one time and then I'll move on to another game. You see, and I think with multiplayer, it's going to bring me back over and over again to play it, especially if it's a decent multiplayer experience. But all in all, guys, this is everything that we know so far about Dragon Age 4. What is it that you guys are most excited to see in Dragon Age 4? And what are you anticipating that they may add or remove? Where do you think the story's going to go? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Dragon Age 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. The hype and excitement in the horror community, guys, is starting to build for the Outlast Trials. So Outlast, guys, a game that is a pretty terrifying experience, to say the least. A very exciting and fun game, in my opinion. I've really enjoyed it up to this point. I'm really looking forward to the Outlast Trials. And there's a lot of, questions that were coming up, right? We've talked on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out on the YouTube channel everything that we've kind of talked about so far about the Outlast Trials. But as more information has come out, I think it's important that we talk about these things and we kind of start breaking them down. We give our opinions, and I would love to hear yours in the comment section down below, because this is one of my most anticipated, horror games that's up and coming in 2021. So let's talk about it. In an article, guys, that was written by Matthew Bird of Den of Geek, the Outlast Trials will take the Outlast series in an interesting new direction as it's introduced co-op to the series. Developer Red Barrels is working on a new Outlast game called the Outlast Trials. It's not quite what you're expecting either. Well, it's not a direct sequel to the other critically acclaimed Outlast titles in the series. The Outlast Trials will be set in the same thrilling universe, more precisely, right in the middle of the Cold War era, Red Barrels said of the new sequel in a press release. The Outlast Trials will allow players to face the horrors of the trials by themselves, or cooperate with up to 3 other test subjects. We had mentioned in the past, guys, that one of the big things to me when I was kind of looking into this title in particular before we got more information, you know, the images that were released, guys, of the goggles and such, I really thought that this was potentially a secret VR title for Red Barrels in the Outlast universe, because when they say that this was not going to be a direct sequel to the other, you know, Outlast titles in the series, I thought to myself, okay, this is going to be their VR title. It's going to be kind of like Half-Life Alyx from Valve. That is, you know, a VR title, but it's just kind of like Red Barrel's way of kind of getting into the VR sector with Outlast, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. If we had to guess, though, we'd say that this will likely be a more intimate horror experience that is similar in scope to the original Outlast title, in the sense that it will see you try to survive the horror of a particular facility. We'd love to see the game's co-op mode serve as a kind of horror version of Portal, but it's a little too early to say whether or not that's what we're going to get out of this. Now it seems to me, guys, that when you can play together with your friends, my biggest question is like, I can totally see so many different ways in which you would be able to connect with this game outside of just co-op. Like, you can maybe play by yourself. You can maybe play multiplayer. This could have some multiplayer modes to it. We'll kind of have to wait and see, but it kind of feels like maybe a Dead by Daylight type of mentality if you were to play multiplayer or something. I think that could be really interesting. It's good to know that Red Barrels is returning to the Outlast universe. The original Outlast is one of the most important and overall great horror experiences of the modern era. Outlast 2 suffered from some missteps, but it still left us with the general impression that Red Barrels knows how to craft truly memorable horror titles. Red Barrels said back in December 2019 that it had been working on developing the title for months and is now ramping up the production process. So we expect the game to be pretty far along at this point. The studio also promises to focus on content creation, variety, and gore this time around. So when they say content creation, it's hard for me to understand what they're talking about there. Are they talking about content creators that are creating content around the game? Not sure exactly what they meant by content creation, but definitely variety as well as gore, guys. We love it. That's something that'll be really interesting, to say the least. Now, as far as the release date is concerned, guys, the Outlast Trials will arrive in 2021. The game is currently only confirmed for PC. Now, I really am hoping that it comes to consoles as well, that being like the next generation consoles. I really hope it doesn't stick to just PC, because that's going to kind of limit how many people are going to be playing the game. Sure, there's going to be a lot of people, I would assume, but if it's on consoles as well, it's going to become a lot more accessible. Now, the first teaser for the Outlast Trials is about as gruesome as you'd expect. This was something that was shown at the 2020 PC Gaming Show, guys, which you guys should definitely check out if you have not already. It is pretty terrifying. I mean, you're watching it, it looks like they kind of turn on some music, then they go ahead and it looks like they're about to start torturing the subject, but they're actually they sort of screw the goggles onto you as the player, and then you can see, you're kind of running away from, looks like, some pretty terrifying individuals and such. And so it was a very interesting teaser trailer, to say the least. And I gotta say, the more I'm seeing about it, the more I'm hearing about the Outlast Trials, the more excited I'm getting about it. Now, I don't know what I'm going to think about having the, night vision goggles on at all times. I hope it's not all the time, but I get the concept that they're going for here, and it could be something pretty special. Now, we haven't heard anything, guys, about necessarily multiplayer and all of that. I think this game could be primed for multiplayer experiences, in my opinion, especially the 3v1 type of style, kind of similar, something kind of like Dead by Daylight or games like that. That could be really interesting, especially with this game. This looks like a really creepy experience, to say the least. And look, guys, in a gaming landscape that we are getting horror games, without a doubt, don't get me wrong, but it just seems, and it feels like more and more of the horror games, true horror games out there, are starting to turn more into action horror games. This feels like just gritty horror, and that's what I absolutely love, guys. And so I'm incredibly excited about the Outlast Trials. It's one of my most anticipated horror games up and coming here in 2021. It can't come out soon enough, guys. I'm excited about it. Let me know what you guys are the most excited about when it comes to the Outlast Trials. Let me know in the comment section below. And for more The Outlast Trials content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. As we get closer and closer to Phase 5 coming out, guys, of course, one of the, pretty much the biggest recruitment challenge in all of the gaming world, guys. Phase recruiting 5 people to their team. And as we're waiting to get further information about when this recruitment challenge is going to start and what all it's going to look like, I think that, one of the questions I've gotten quite a bit after making some of these other, Phase 5 videos on the YouTube channel is, will this Phase 5 recruitment challenge be a multi-Call of Duty RC, or multi-COD is what people in the community call it. And so will Phase 5 be a multi-COD recruitment challenge? And so here's the thing, guys. In the past, for those of you who never were able to go for Phase 5 or aren't really familiar with it, Phase 5 is a recruitment challenge put on by FaZe Clan. They've done 2 of them up to this point. They've also done like a Phase 1 recruitment challenge. And each of these recruitment challenges have been based specifically around the Call of Duty community, and more in particular, the Call of Duty trickshotting and sniping communities. Typically speaking, they'll pick up like 3 trickshotters and 2 snipers, and those make up the 5 people who got recruited. And so that being said, though, typically the way that they've worked it in the past is Phase 5, I believe the first one was specific to Modern Warfare 2. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, it was specific to. And then the second Phase 5 was specific, I believe, to Black Ops 2. So they did like a Black Ops 2 recruitment challenge. I believe, I might be getting mixed up, but I know that MW2 and Black Ops 2 were pretty much the 2 main games when we're talking about the trickshotting and sniping community as a whole at large when it came to Phase 5. And what they would end up doing was FaZe would go ahead and they would make sure that there were specific, as far as the challenge is concerned, you would have to, go for trick shots. You have to use a certain, clan tag in your name. And that was a way that they knew that the clips were being hit throughout that time period. Of when the recruitment challenge was going on, you had a certain deadline, so on and so forth. So anyways, to get to the question, will it be a multi-COD recruitment challenge? I would say yes. My belief is that I think that this is going to be the most accessible Phase 5 we've ever seen to date for a number of reasons, which I've already talked about on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all the Phase 5 videos on the YouTube channel. But as far as with this recruitment challenge in particular, I don't think it's only going to be specific to Call of Duty. I also think it's going to be, you're also going to be able to be a Fortnite player and go for it. You're also going to be able to be a streamer or a content creator and go for Phase 5. It's not just going to be Call of Duty trickshotting and sniping. So what I'm getting at is this. I think Phase 5 is, they're going to come out and essentially tell everyone that you can go for Phase based on, any of these, any game. You can, if you're a content creator, you can play any game. Now, if you're a trickshot or a sniper, you got to do it on Black Ops 2 or Modern Warfare 2. If you are a trickshotter in Fortnite, you got to do this or that. There's going to be specifics, I think, but I think it's going to be the most accessible ever because they're going to want this to be an event. They want this to be probably one of the biggest gaming events out there. And so if they're going to do that, they're going to want to do it right, guys. And I think that everyone wants a chance to join FaZe. So I think that if you're not really talented when it comes to trickshot and sniping, that isn't something that FaZe is going to say, oh, we're not going to pick you up because you're not really good at trickshotting or sniping. If you have talent in other areas, that being like a streamer or a content creator, we still may give you an opportunity. So what my thought process is maybe out of the 5 people that get recruited, one's a trickshotter, one's a sniper, one is a streamer, one's a content creator, and one is a Fortnite player or something like that. All in all, I think that that's going to be really important. Now, multi-COD, guys, means pretty much all the different Call of Duties. It's like multiple different Call of Duties that are, that you're able to go for the recruitment challenge within. And I would say that, why not? Why couldn't you go for, you just got to use a specific clan tag during that period of time? Why can't it be any Call of Duty? I don't see why not. They may want to make it specific to Black Ops and Modern Warfare 2 again. But I just don't know if they're going to do that because those games are a lot older. Maybe they want to do some of the newer games. I kind of doubt it because trick shot and sniping isn't sniping, but not so much trick shotting is as big as it used to be. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I do think, though, that they need to kind of stick to the traditions of Phase 5, what made it so great in the past, kind of giving a kudos to the past, that being like, you know, the trick shotting and sniping communities. However, I think that they also have to expand it like they, you know, the last, you know, Phase 5 video that they brought out a while back was with Banks and Rain and Adapt sitting down and talking to the camera, explaining that Phase 5 is coming back, but it's going to be a Fortnite Phase 5. It wasn't even going to be a Call of Duty Phase 5. And then it never saw the light of day, guys. The video got, I believe, deleted off the YouTube channel. But what I'm getting at here is that Fortnite was in the back of their mind when they were talking about the next Phase 5. And so now I think when we're thinking about this, I don't think it's going to be specific to Fortnite, but I also don't think it's going to be specific to Call of Duty. I think it's going to be a much wider, broader spectrum. We may be wrong, and I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out. But to answer the question, yes, I believe so, guys. I believe it will be multi-COD, and if not, maybe it'll be just one Call of Duty. Maybe it'll be just Fortnite. Maybe it won't even be any of those games. Maybe it'll be something completely new. We'll have to kind of wait and see, guys. But let me know. Will you be going for Phase 5? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Phase 5 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.